Hello everybody, this is Everyday Commentary. I am doing a video review of a Mushan Aon flashlight. This is a small batch production or semi-custom light produced by a guy named Muyshondt. He has a website. If you Google Mushan, you'll be able to find it. This light runs on a CR2 battery, which is a lithium battery. It's about 2/3 the size of a CR123A. It has an output around 3 volts, so it runs the same amount of power through the emitter, but it does not run as long. This light is probably it's one of my favorite lights. It's close to the Haiku. And I made this little setup so you don't have to see my big fat fingers the whole time. But this is a 2-stage light. The first stage comes on at about 30 lumens, and the second stage comes on at about 114, 115 lumens. So this light can get pretty bright given how small it is, and it is small. I mean, there's my thumb. It's a tiny light. I really like it. I'm going to go through the score I gave it. I got a 20 out of 20 on my website, and basically the way it works is there are 10 categories. The product can get a 0, 1, or 2 in each of the 10 categories, and then you add up the scores for a total of up to 20 points. 0 means the product does not do well in that category at all, it fails. 1 means it works adequately, and 2 means it works excellently. So I'm going to go through and explain a little bit about what each category is and how this light scores in that category. The first category is design. That is, what does it look like when it's in the blueprint stages? Does it have all the features you'd want? Does it have all the things that you think you need? That kind of thing. So this light has a ton of really, really nice materials. It has a brass heatsink. It uses aluminum. It has a very nice emitter. It's a X-lamp emitter, which was a special, smaller run of a older style emitter. It has a sapphire lens. It has a chem coat interior. It has a lot of nice materials, but it doesn't have a lot of features. It's a 2-stage twisty, which means you twist it a little bit and it goes on, and twist it a little bit more and it gets brighter. That's really it, other than the ability for it to tail stand on the back with the brass lanyard ring inside, that little tail standing guy. That's all there is to this light. This is one of those things where less is more, and less is definitely more here because it doesn't distract from what this light does really well, and I'll get to that in a second. In terms of design, it's not very complicated. It's just a tube with some knurling on it, but it does everything really well, and the design, the simplicity of the design means that this is a simple and easy to use flashlight. For that reason, I gave it a 2. In terms of fit and finish, how things are implemented, how things are cut, how things are finished with the hard anodized aluminum coating, this light gets a 2 out of 2 as well. The threads are really nice. It's quite smooth. I do need to clean it a little bit, which is why it was stuttering when it was starting. The heat sink is well done, and the hard anodizing on this light is really quite incredible. Enrique does a demo on his website where he uses this light to cut through a mag light, and the light gets a little beat up, but it actually does cut through the mag light, so it's pretty tough. You could use this light as a keychain light, and it's plenty tough. I really like carrying it in a jeans pocket, but if you wanted to use it as a keychain light, you don't have to worry about it looking like crap after a year or so. So I gave it a 2 in fit and finish. In terms of grip, it's a really small light, so I mean, you can't really cigar hold it very well because there's nothing left. You can do like a pinch. You can put it in your mouth pretty easy, which again I don't recommend, but you can do it. I find it most comfortable to hold like this, to sort of ball it up in my fist and have it stick out a little bit. And that gives you a lot of control over the light. You can actually still use your hand. You could carry like a bag of groceries or something. So in terms of grip, even though it's a small light, the knurling's good. The magic ratio of length to diameter is pretty good. So I gave it a 2 out of 2 there. In terms of carry, this is such a tiny light that you can throw it in a pocket and not worry about it. You won't have to think about it because it won't get beat up, and you don't have to worry about it because it weighs next to nothing, and it's really, really small. You could also put it on a lanyard if you want. It's too small really for a pocket clip, but lanyard would work as well. I think it rides perfectly in a jeans pocket, so I give it 2 out of 2 in terms of carry. Its output is quite good. For the size of the light, the 30 lumens is pretty decent, and the 114 lumens is quite nice for a light this size. Even now, they're probably brighter lights, but I'll get to it in a second. The output is always balanced by runtime, and here the runtime is amazing. So 114 lumens, legit 114 lumens, not some made-up emitter lumens baloney. That's a pretty good output. So 114 lumens is something I definitely do. I gave it a 2 out of 2 there. In terms of runtime, this is where this light separates itself from pretty much every light out there, even 3 or 4 years after it was first introduced. This light will run forever. It will produce 30 lumens for 40 hours. Something crazy like that. And it's just one of those things that, like, you learn over time. You'd rather have a light that runs for a long time with a little bit of light than a lot of light for a little bit of time. And this is a perfect case in point. Enrique did not put any frills on this light. There's no strobe. There's no bullshit like that. But this light runs, and it runs forever. I've had it for about 2 years. I've used it extensively. I think I've changed the battery maybe 3 or 4 times, and that's it. Beam type, what kind of output does it have? Is it closer to flood or is it closer to throw? A light this small is going to have a really hard time throwing light, so this is a pretty much exclusively flood light. And in that role, it does really well. The hot spot is plenty bright, and the spill is nice and diffuse. And so I gave it a 2 out of 2 for the beam type. Obviously, I gave it 2 out of 2 for runtime. Beam quality. The beam itself doesn't have any artifacts in it, and it's pretty round. There's no holes. There's no shadows. It is a little green. The tint is a little green. But it's nothing noticeable unless you're comparing it to other lights. And it's definitely not something that would throw you off if you were using it at night to distinguish between colors of items. It may not be the most vibrant red, but you will definitely still be able to tell that it's actually a red object. So in beam quality, I gave it a 2 out of 2. And user interface. This is my second favorite thing about this light after the runtime. Dead simple. Hand it to a person, say twist to turn on, twist more to get brighter, twist the other way to turn it off. That's it. That's the whole manual. You don't need to have any sort of Morse code or press and hold. There's a difference between a click and a tap and a press. It's just twist, twist more, and that's it. In terms of hands-free use, this light tail stands quite well. You can put it down and it'll do its thing all day long. The lanyard guy will give it a little bit of an anti-roll. Let's see if we can get it to work there. There you go. But not a whole lot. When a light this small, it's really hard to make it anti-roll unless you have like a non-square body. But it also works pretty well in your teeth. Again, I don't really recommend doing that, but you know what I mean. In situations where you need it, you just put it in your mouth, and it does fine. And because it's so small, you don't have to worry about whacking it and then chipping a tooth or something. I know everybody says just get a headlamp, but you look like such a weirdo with a headlamp. So in terms of hands-free, I gave this a 2 out of 2 as well, for a total score of 20 out of 20. I usually pair this light with my Dragonfly 2 and ZDP 189, and they make a really, really good combination. I like this light. I like that flash. I like this flashlight. I like that knife. They both together still fit in your jeans pocket. So you got, a good little kit to take with you anywhere you want to go, and you don't have anybody noticing you have some massive flashlight or massive pocket knife. They're just hidden, discreet, and when you need them, they perform really, really well. This is a great light.